I like to think of the architect as the coach, maybe, and the quarterback of the building team.
Here we are. Here we are with Architecture Distilled, where we're going to talk about the essence beyond the architect, right? So we just want to welcome everybody for the very first Architecture Distilled episode. This podcast is where we want to explore the essence of architecture beyond the architect. I'm Andrew, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this journey. And I'm going to introduce Daniel over here.
And I'm Daniel Ebarb. It's good to have everybody with us. We're excited to be doing this episode. We've been working on it, or this podcast. We've been doing it, thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah, and we're kind of getting everything, or working on getting everything set up, and it's been a long journey.
Been a pretty long journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
We came up with this idea, 7 years ago. Because it was before 2020.
Yeah, I guess. So I've been
like
on my
2019
own for
maybe
3.5 years, and it was probably 3 or 4 years before that we started talking about it.
Yeah.
We didn't actually start this off as a podcast.
No,
it was just a
looking
conversation while we were commuting.
And we came up with a cool name, and we're just like, man, we need to
do something with that name.
Put that in our back pocket. And
here we are.
Yeah, here we are about to kick off things, and so we kind of want to just go through some introduction of us and just tell you why we're doing this podcast and what we want to do down in the future. We're also going to be introducing, let's just say, we're wanting to introduce
other facets of this.
Yeah, other facets of this, but we're also using this podcast to kind of introduce a new company called Distilled Homes, and we'll get more into that on another episode. But for right now, we just want to tell you why we're doing this and who we are and what to expect. So here we are. So why this podcast? For us, it's about going beyond the physical into the emotional and cultural impact of architecture. We want to talk to architects, designers, artists, historians, and even people who don't work in the architecture world at all. We believe the most interesting conversations happen when diverse perspectives collide, right? We'll cover topics like the psychology of space, the intersection of architecture and technology, and even ways architecture reflects on a societal values. And Daniel and I mean, we were sitting down yesterday having a conversation, and we don't agree on everything, and that's okay.
Okay, that's right.
And hopefully that will make this a lot more interesting too, is the fact that, we don't agree on everything, but at the end of the day, we're still good friends, we're still good colleagues, and we still can work together.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's important to us.
Yeah, we want to, to continue what Andrew was saying. We want to bring in things that most people don't think about when they hear architecture. Most people, I suspect, just think about designing buildings, but there's financing, there's construction, there's geotechnical, there's environmental impact, there's a whole army of people that form a team to make any building happen. I don't care how small or how big that building is.
Yeah.
And we want to talk to all of them. We want to get all of their perspectives, from the owner to the guy digging the dirt, I guess.
Yeah. And our main thing is, and we kind of want to push this, is architecture does not start with an architect, and it doesn't end with an architect. So at the end of the day, we're not the ones that are using the building every day. So we gotta understand that, and we have to.
Yeah, I like to think of the architect as the coach, maybe, and the quarterback of the building team.
Yeah.
The AEC team that's building, because Yeah, we direct a lot, we coordinate a lot, but we are only a part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We don't even come up with the idea half the time. Somebody has a problem and needs a solution. And a lot of times they start figuring it out on their own or start looking into things. And then eventually the architect comes in and starts helping with things. And of course, it's great when the architect's involved from the very beginning of things. But is it necessary? No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah. I think we're problem solvers. That's the
Yeah, we're problem solvers.
3-dimensional problem solvers.
What to expect. So what to expect with Architecture Distilled podcast. In the upcoming episodes, you can expect interviews with thought leaders, deep dives into iconic structures, and open discussions about challenges and opportunities facing architecture today. So we want to, our main goal is to meet with people and have discussions about these challenges and opportunities in architecture.
Yeah, we want to talk to developers, builders, contractors, subcontractors, HVAC, engineers, users.
Yeah.
You know,
The
because
end users,
architecture affects the environment that it is the environment, the built environment. So we want to know people that it affects.
Homeowners, people that are using the buildings.
Yeah,
So
retailers, whatever, you know.
some of our future guests are going to include an artist, real estate agent, HVAC guy,
Project superintendent.
project superintendent, construction management, architects that are involved in different parts of the construction phases. We're going to talk to one of our colleagues that we used to work with, Omar, who's been involved in the construction administration side of things, more so than not, you know. So just all these various people, we want to sit down with them, have discussions, and talk about these things, and kind of dive into that world of architecture.
Yeah, I think the goal is the idea, not the goal. The idea is to have discussions about the real world of architecture, not the ethereal. I don't know how to say that. You get a lot of podcasts here talk about design.
Yeah.
You know, design of architecture, and that's so.
Or how an architect should be designed.
Yeah, it's so in the
what to
air.
expect
It's
as an
so
architect.
so subjective. It's ethereal. I can't think of another word for it at the moment. You know,
I think it's very geared towards architects as well. We really want to learn, and the reason why we're doing this, or part of the reason that we're doing this, is we really want to learn about development and what it takes to truly go from, you know, the beginning of a project to the end of a project and beyond. So that's some of the main reasons why we're wanting to do this, because we want to learn and we want to go on a journey of how this stuff is done. And then we also want to take you on a journey of what we're working on. Things like our future company that we're starting called Distilled Homes, that we'll dive more into. But right now, we're going to show you kind of the ins and outs of that and how we're going about that.
Yeah, we want the podcast to be relatable to everybody, not just people in the AEC industry. You know, maybe someone wants to build a home, but they don't know how to start.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody has an idea that they want to build an office building, but they have no idea how to start. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. We've run into clients in the past that have money and land and
Don't know
earthly idea what to do with it.
Yeah, don't know what
how
to
to
do.
get going. You know, so
Yeah. And we want to help you with that.
yeah, we want to just take you through those journeys.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And we're coming at you from a lot of varied experience between the two of us, and then especially when you take it out to all of our guests that we've been talking to. So you'll be getting a lot of perspective.
Yeah. So our next thing we want to dive into is kind of our background, our personal background. What inspired us to be architects? What our passions are, and our vision for this podcast on a personal kind of level, and possibly even kind of talk about our community engagement and how we want to go about that. So I'll kind of kick this off with some questions towards us, and we'll dive more into those with Daniel and I. So our first question, of course, is the big one of like, what got us inspired to pursue a career in architecture and design or development? So what inspired you, Daniel?
Well, I did not start in architecture. I actually, aside from, when I was, pre-college, I did enjoy drawing and designing, and I knew I wanted to design something.
Yeah.
And I was good at math, so I went into electrical engineering. And I discovered that though I could do the math, I found it very, very boring. And so I didn't do very well, C's, B's, So I said, well, let me go try something else. And I started in the College of Architecture at Texas A&M, and fell in love with architectural history. Absolutely loved it. And then getting into the sketch classes and stuff, I just started, really, really, really falling into the whole design ethos, of various historic architects, and it just kind of just carried on from there, and then a few professors have really, really encouraged that growth, or inspired that growth. So yeah, I mean, it's not that I wanted to become an architect. It just kind of happened it was kind of organic for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it was more, I had a talent in it, and I was learning that in high school. My dad pushed me towards going in, taking some classes for construction engineering that my school was offering in high school. We designed a house. We designed, oh, that's okay. We'll just keep. But anyways, yeah, I dove into architecture by learning how to design a house, design a neighborhood. So we started out that way, and then we eventually got more into kind of the construction side of things. So I was learning a lot about like how a house is built and stuff like that. But then eventually I needed to, go off to school. I joined the Army first, but then eventually ended up at Bowling Green State University for architecture. Started pursuing that. My goal was not to be an architect. My goal was to be a chaplain in the Army. And eventually that shifted, and I started figuring out that I had a greater love and a passion for architecture, and didn't really want to stay in the military anymore. So I started pursuing other opportunities. Eventually found myself in Dallas, where I once again got into home design and stuff like that, and then eventually into much bigger projects, but we can dive more into that later.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, because when I was at A&M, I was in the Corps Cadets, and so after your sophomore year there, you have to tell them, yes, I want to pursue my commissioning and continue, or not.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can't really be an architect in the military. It just doesn't happen. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can be, but you're not doing the same thing, so.
Yeah, it's more of Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, I mean,
they're more looking for engineers.
And then they're hiring it all out anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you might supervise. In fact, I've got a friend that we should get on here, Jeremy Potts, who worked for AFES for a long Army Air Force Exchange Service, and that's all he did. He really managed. He's an architect that doesn't do architecture. He manages architecture.
Yeah. He'd be a really good
Yeah, I think
conversation.
he'd be good. He'd be a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. He worked at Hodges before you did too.
Okay. Yeah.
After 23 years at Hodges, I know a lot of people that worked at Hodges.
Yeah. Yeah, one of our good friends, Andre, as well, who we want to eventually have on the podcast as well.
Yeah, he
real
was an
estate
architect.
agent.
Yeah, that is now a real estate agent. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He did that when the economy tanked in '08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got I've got a friend that got me down here. Carla, she was in architecture. She did architecture for many years, and now is on the developer side of things. So we're hoping to have her on eventually. Her husband, Jose, who is also a trained architect, but ended up more in the steel world.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's a real estate agent.
Yeah. Then we got the guy behind the camera over here, Joe.
Yeah. Who we'll get
He's
on
an
here
architectural technologist, if there's any other word for it. I'm not sure.
Very involved. He likes design as well, but he's very technical and very good at the BIM side of things, and especially in the home world. I believe he leads the industry kind of in that realm of BIM and home developer or production home developer. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll get him on here and talk about that stuff as well, and technology and architecture. And then, more about us though. Why are you doing that? Why do you want to do this podcast personally?
Well, like we said earlier, we the fact that it's a podcast is just an organic evolution of our conversations we had. For a little background, Andrew and I, after he left his first job down here in the South, he came and I hired him at my firm, at the firm I was working for, and we commuted together because we lived real close to each other. So anyway, for several years we just talked and
we had good conversations.
We had great conversations on the road, and
that's how we came up with the name of Architecture Distilled.
Yeah. So it's just kind of organic, It's not that I have a desire to do a podcast per se. I have a desire to both, and I think all architects have this desire to both learn and disseminate knowledge. And this just seems like a natural way to do that.
Yeah.
Because I personally find it one of the things that I hope we can share is the effort that it takes to really do a project well.
Yeah.
And I fear that things like these online auction talent sites like Fiverr and whatever diminish that knowledge. They I can get a house design for $400. Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You can get something that looks like a house design.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really about gaining and sharing knowledge, and this just seems like the natural way to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all this technology, I don't watch. I don't necessarily even watch podcasts. It's not my thing. I do watch a couple. Or listen to a couple, but it's just not my thing,
Yeah.
But it does feel like the best way to go about this,
Yeah. I think I'd be the one that's more into podcasts. I've listened to them probably ever since I really started working in the office for an architecture firm. Started getting into them, and I believe some of them, the ones that got me into it, they weren't architecture podcasts, but they were about design and dove into why things are and how things came about on certain things. So, that knowledge that was coming from it just intrigued me and got me into podcasts. And of course, now it's where it is today, where it's just saturated with so many different podcasts. I mean, you can sit down and learn about so much stuff. Just go to YouTube University and learn how to be something.
Yeah.
You don't even have to show up to a classroom. You can just go on there and learn how to do certain things. And I mean, that's how I learned what podcast or what microphone to get, what cameras to get, what certain things. And of course, not everything is perfect yet right now, or we're slowly figuring this out. But the big thing is we're sitting down and we're recording, and that's where it starts. And
and I hope we can. I really hope we can discern ourselves from the other podcasts, because there are a lot of architecture podcasts. And I've listened to various ones a couple of times, and they all feel very much the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they talk architectural theory.
Yeah.
They talk design theory. They don't, very rarely do you hear them talking about the guy in the back room drafting a toilet room.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of architecture, and
yeah. Some of the ones I've listened to or heard, like Business of Architecture.
That's Enoch Sears, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And then there's another guy that does Entree Architects or something like that.
Architects,
yeah. And then there's a few others. And
Matt Reisinger, he's...
Yeah, Matt Reisinger. I mean, he's got a podcast, but he also started out doing videos of like showing what not to do, and then now he's more into
best practices.
Yeah, showing you how to build a better house. Very good concepts, so definitely check him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we can distinguish ourselves separately from all those, especially just going through this journey of Distilled Homes, Architecture Distilled, our own designs that we do, our own work that we do, into what other people are doing. I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but one of our next episodes will be with an artist, sitting down with an artist. And he's got a different background. He wasn't always an artist either, but I mean, he's pursuing these things, and he's also got a love for architecture and design and building and stuff like that. So we're very looking forward to these conversations that we're going to have, and hopefully we gain some good fun and personal connections, and hopefully we can even engage with the community out there if this takes off,
Yeah, we want y'all's opinion. We want y'all's feedback. We want y'all's questions.
Yeah.
Any episodes or ideas that you want us to talk about? Any questions you have that you want us to discuss on air? Yeah. Let us know.
So once again, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Architecture Distilled. If you enjoyed, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and follow us on social media platforms. We'll be getting that all set up. We'll see you next time for our first deep dive into the stories behind space we inhabit. So, yeah.
All right. We want to shout out to Left Brain Studios and eBarb Guest Architecture for being the primary sponsors right now.
Thank you to them.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Andrew Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.